that makes it look like it is. It says meeting is being live streamed. Okay.
I know, I just need to see it pop up because it doesn't tell you when it pops up on the page. Oh, I think it's working. Is it working?
Mine says Facebook and it has like a thing that makes it look like it's going.
Yay! Right, so we're working. I'm just going to share the live into a few groups and wait for some people to join. Groups. Share to groups. We used to be able to do all this before. I don't know if you want to share it to any of your pages or anything.
Um, let's see. I'm nervous I would click on something and then like somehow end this or erase it.
Oh, I don't think you will. If you just say, do you know if you go onto your phone, you should be able to do it from there.
Okay. So I'll go to Autistic Parents UK.
Um,
Oh no.
That's shared. Hi everyone, if you're joining, we're just gonna take a few minutes to share the live stream.
I've shared well. Now I can see me looking at me on my Facebook. Look that weird. The Alice in Wonderland moment.
More group. Yeah, we used to be able to do this. It used to be a lot better for live streaming, but share now. There we go. We've shared in a few places. Oh, should be able to share it to your page as well.
I did. I did.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's very clunky at the beginning. We used to be able to do this countdown thing where we'd have stuff on and so on and so forth. But, anyway, thank you for joining me. And we'll pretend that we haven't just been having a chat
Talking.
backstage for like 30 minutes and losing track of time.
I almost forgot to come on. But
Yeah,
anyway.
we almost forgot that people were supposed to be watching. Hi, Fiona. Nice to see you. So, Laura, would you like to tell me a bit about yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
Oh, because I've just been talking to you about this, like I don't know. So
I
yeah,
do everything.
I forgot who I am. I'm Laura Hellfeld. I live in North Yorkshire, as we were talking about and learning about all the beautiful places in the UK. I work as an independent nurse and sleep consultant. I'm really interested in helping people with like the day-to-day stuff, to make it easier for them. So I really enjoy time learning and working with people around like the food and eating, toileting, sleep,
Oh,
hygiene.
so almost like occupations.
I
So
do
almost like
think
a
that what
crossover.
yes, there's a huge amount of crossover. I love occupational therapists. They're some of my favorite people. Um,
Same, same.
I know, like give me an OT, a PT. I like love everybody. If I could be,
For me, I was like, if I didn't do social care, I would definitely be OT.
I know they have such a cool job. They have such a cool job. But yeah, so nurses also do what's called like the activities of daily living.
Hmm.
And I do feel like there's often that whatever resources I'm reading to help me improve what I'm doing is an OT has put it together. So yeah, and then I think similar to you is helping people that mainly just find through different charities and organizations, just to try to make sure we reach as many people as we can to see how to help their day to day feel a bit easier and really kind of help figure out like what is wellness for them, and really try to make it really personalized care.
Mm, that's awesome. So you've chosen to talk about hypermobility.
We did.
Why? Why hypermobility? Why did, because you could pick anything. Why did you pick
I know, why
hypermobility?
did I do that? Something was on my mind at that moment. I ended up kind of talking about it a lot. I think just because it was such a big like bold moment for me, and my health, and then so many people around me. And then it feels like as much as I feel like now it's on my feed, I'm pushed all the videos and like I feel like I'm surrounded by it like all day because I'm interested in it. It still feels like there's not enough awareness. by the public themselves, because it's something we haven't talked about for very long, and then also very particularly by practitioners. So I thought, oh, I guess I'll talk about that tonight. It's one of my favorite topics to weave into a lot of the self-care because it really does impact all of it.
Mm, mm. So I guess we'd start with like what is hypermobility and why is it so relevant in autism?
Yeah. So hyper means like more, mobility, so movement. So it's more movement of your joints than would be expected. There's a bit of a line or spectrum, if you will, of hypermobility. And it's funny because as much as I read on this and think about it and work with people around it, I'm still like, the divisions to me seem a bit diffuse. And also because I know a lot of other practitioners, like it's not how they diagnose, it's not how they validate people's experiences. But it goes essentially from joint hypermobility, but asymptomatic. So like maybe they move a bit more, but the person really doesn't feel impacted, all the way through what is like the hypermobility spectrum disorders, and then it goes up to the hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos. And it's thought of differently than how we think of the spectrum for autism. It is thought of like less impactful in the person to more impactful in the person. But at the same time, the separation for me of this of Ehlers-Danlos and hypermobility, to me, there's so much overlap, or there seems to be a lot of and someone who
Where does
also
one begin and one end?
so there's three criteria for it to be more like
Mm,
that's hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos. And just for clarity, there's 13 different types of Ehlers-Danlos. So
mm.
I'm more talking about the hypermobile one. Um, so for that criteria in particular, it's considered it would be where a practitioner would decide this person seems to have just more symptoms, more is presenting with more issues. So and they have to present. So there's like the Baton scoring, which has to do with looking at different joints, and then they would score you based off of that. Also, family history is on that list, very strictly family history. At the same time, again, also hypermobility spectrum disorders, also genetics. That's where like some overlap. And then Ehlers-Danlos, there's also things that maybe they would see visually. So it's like velvety skin. Maybe there's a lot more um, stretch marks or like red striation than would be expected. Someone where they would think that like their fingers, the proportion of their fingers is longer in relation to their palm. I know. See, and there's this whole thing of I technically now my diagnosis has been changed multiple times, and I just think these people, what do they? I don't know what they know.
I'm like paranoid about my fingers now. I'm like, oh my God, I've got really long fingers and toes
I
and
have
long limbs.
you too. Yes, and that is part of it. Or it could be that they've had pelvic prolapse without having been pregnant, herniations, particularly in the abdomen. And so then they would say, oh, that we're going to be then putting this person under hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos versus hypermobility. But some of those pieces too, it's like, is this more stretch marks than you expect? Is this more like, although then it's
What's the benchmark of normal? And I guess that's the thing in medicine, isn't it? It's also
yeah.
generalized and kind of.
Yes, and I know the practitioner that I saw here really hadn't seen many people and admitted that. So then was like, really wanted to see really quite extreme things. And I was like, well, the things that I feel are more extreme than I struggle with in the day-to-day, like you can't see them. It's like, like the cardiac wise and, and bladder wise and stuff like that. I was like, and my migraines, I was like, that's stuff that you're not seeing, but I could tell you can really impact my day. So it's an interesting one that there are these divisions, and it's changed throughout time. I don't know where we'll be again. And also hypermobility, whether that's the hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos or hypermobility spectrum disorders, it's due to a collagen difference or the protein that makes up connective tissue. So connective tissue is everywhere, very different um, discussion of connective tissue now than when I was in anatomy labs, and during dissections they would say take the back of your scissors and just scrape that off the muscles and throw it on the floor like it's useless stuff.
Oh,
Like
so it's like the Fisher type, sinewy type.
yeah, and Ehlers-Danlos UK, the charity, describes it as like the mortar between bricks. Like it keeps things connected but yet separated.
Yeah.
But we also know
Like the
that
stringy kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we also know that it also goes through things as well, like even through our teeth. So we actually know that it's not just the sausage casing as described to us for so long. That it's not just this like inert structure. It actually is a very active structure as well. So very, very important. And because it can be anywhere in our body, the potential areas that of how it impacts you could be really quite like a long list. Hence why people will, even at young ages, approach healthcare workers and say, I have these list of areas that are hard for me, like migraines, or maybe I have reflux, abdominal pains, joint pains, like have quite a list. And they'll say, that's too many things, you know. Or if it's a younger person, they'll be like, no, you're too young for those things to happen. You know, you haven't had maybe, I know it was said to me when I was younger of, you just haven't had that many sports injuries to warrant how much pain you're in or what you're asking for. But I was in that kind of pain. um,
Yeah. I remember being a child and my kneecaps used to pop out of place frequently.
so
And that's the pain relate. And I used to tell somebody afterwards, like my knees just like, because it used to get stuck like straight. And then I used to have that crank it, and I could sit there and just pop them slightly out. And I know this is really gross, so trigger warning, but I remember nobody used to believe me. Like, don't be ridiculous, that never happened. You know, otherwise you'd be in so much. And I was like, well, it just happens frequently now, so you get used to it. And I like one of the things that I find, because yeah, growing pains, Fiona's just mentioned that as
oh
well.
yes,
Everything that was always attributed for me as growing pains.
yes,
Um, Another thing with the link between eating as well. So, I mean,
yeah,
I can only speak from my personal, and will only speak from my personal experience, but they used to think I had an eating disorder because of the way that hypermobility impacted on my interoception and my ability to feel hunger,
hmm,
which I had to figure out when I was older, you know. But yeah, so there's so much. I guess what I'm saying is there's so much that it can kind of weave into an impact on as well. And I don't know about you, but I believe that a lot of my kind of like burnout and chronic exhaustion is probably attributed to hypermobility as well, because I'm in constant discomfort or
yes,
uncomfort. And you don't realize how many spoons that takes either, do you? And I think
yes.
proprioceptive seeking can sometimes, like, you know, it can be attributed to kind of ADHD when it actually might be
Mhm.
proprioceptive and hypermobile kind of related. But anyway, I am an interoception boffin. I absolutely love it.
Oh,
But
I know.
yeah. So
I know.
yeah, so I think it's such an important topic, and I'm kind of glad that you've brought it as well, because I think we could just be here all night, but there's so many areas like the bladder, the stomach, even the heart when we're looking at things like
Yeah.
POTS, because I have POTS as well,
Mhm.
and the link there, and then you know, and the skin and the way we look so young.
Well, I also grew up in Southern California, so unfortunately, I think some of that passed on me because I was in the sun all the time and didn't wear sun cream. But yes, for many of you.
We'll take it.
Ah,
But yeah, there's just it's I guess what we're saying is we don't know enough yet, but we're learning so much. But I guess what we're saying is a bit like when we first discovered, like, you know, interoception or proprioception or vestibular and things, or masking, what masking really was, and all of those wonderful things. Is it's something that maybe as autistic people and parents that we need to kind of have in our kind of solar system of in
yes,
terms of things that could be occurring, especially in our children.
yes. And I think because so there are formal research studies to show how
Mm.
prevalent it is in neurodivergent communities, and it is definitely higher. I don't keep
I mean,
numbers.
I'd say more often than not, if I was going to
I also think
anecdotally
the
take a
numbers are
guess.
much higher personally because I think there's still so many people that just haven't gone through the assessment, or the waits for the assessment for hypermobility are still so long, or like my trust won't do under 18. I'm going to be pushing them again through the summer. But you're like, so obviously they're not catching a huge amount of people. But I really believe like it needs to be on that list of, if we're assessing someone for neurodivergence, it needs to be on that list because like you were saying is it can present as so many other healthcare needs as well. that the sooner we can find that for someone, the sooner we can figure that out, the
Mm,
better. Just help keep people safe, help teach them new ways to approach all those areas of self-care that make more sense for them.
mm, mm. And sometimes just even an explanation is so powerful because you can stop looking or stop thinking or stop, like,
Mhm.
self-shaming, like, oh, your posture's really bad, or you need to do more exercise, or, I mean, one of the ways that I manage my symptoms is weight training. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, very careful weight training because I find I'd rather have a pain that's in my control. But also it helps with kind of like joint stability and
Yes.
stuff like that with me. And it gives me that proprioceptive feedback that I need. But,
Yes.
I think that, I think Fiona here, I mean, I know for me, family wise, fibromyalgia is rife within my family. But actually, when I look at my mum and specifically, her party trick is doing the splits, and she's like over 60 now.
You're like, hmm.
Yeah, yeah. She had both cruciate ligaments kind of replaced when she was 14.
And that would be considered unexpected, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Yes. So there's that whole thing of kind of starts to make you think of your family history. You're like you said about your mom, I have family members like that too, where you're like, oh, and it's, the family members have said, oh, I'm double jointed, look at this party trick, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, sorry, I think my internet just dipped out so
Oh no,
momentarily then.
that's okay.
Oh, I think I'm back.
You
But
need
yeah,
louder.
yeah. So all of those things, like we were saying, like the party tricks and stuff like that, but also I think like the Baton score as well. Like I don't have hypermobile thumbs, but the things that I can do with my shoulders.
So that's a very, very important thing to bring up.
Mm.
Is the scoring in my mind, it seems really out of date, even though I think it was in 2017 that maybe it was looked at again.
Mm.
Um, because again, it could be so many different joints. And actually, a very common one is also your cervical joint up here by your brain. So that
That's
really we get
yeah,
nausea and headache and feeling
migraines.
lightheaded. And like that's a really common one brought up and actually impacts me. And you're like, that's not even on the list. And another thing to bring up too, of we're talking about hypermobile, so joints that
Yeah.
we would expect to move more. But we also know that it's like any other thing that if you got injured, because if flexibility in itself isn't necessarily a negative thing, but if something is moving too much too often, you do get soreness and pain and overstretching. So you tend to want to brace yourself, right? Because you want to prevent that pain. I like part of like kind of T-Rex and like I hope I cross my arms and stuff because my elbows always hurt. You start to brace yourself and you become more stiff. So sometimes depending on when someone's going in for assessment, they might actually be more stiff than you would expect. And so then they fail.
Especially if they're older as well.
Yes. And so then they fail this Baton score, and you're like, but no, but they like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
oh,
I think, yeah, I mean, for me, again, like the kind of it's cervical instability. So
mhm,
my neck bends too far backwards to the point
mhm,
where it stops me breathing.
yes,
But yeah, so what I'm constantly here and in my scapula because I'm trying to hold my head up continuously. So yeah, and it's so much pain, but it like even when it's up here, it can impact like, your
oh,
shoulders, your spine, your back, and like your hips. And it's just a knock-on effect as well.
very much. And like you were saying a little earlier, what you were saying about like having to hold your head up, like think of how much more energy and capacity that's using again all day, all day,
Mm,
just to be here, and when we think back down to, young people, and if I'm involved with families discussing their kids' challenges at school, this is an area that 100% always gets discussed because you're trying to think of this young person trying to be in these positions, very quiet and still, but actually, because of being hyper, we need to move more, which you mentioned a bit earlier, like sometimes it gets attributed to ADHD, which it could be because interplay here, and also ADHDers have a higher occurrence of this too. But you have to move more because you're fatigued. So you just necessarily, hence why so many of us love the couch, or a bed. We were talking about before this of where we do our work because you're well supported, putting all the pillows around you, putting your legs up a little bit. So you feel really well supported, but we're expected to be in one place. So I have to stand in a queue. You're like, oh my God. I can't do it. Or it's another reason if someone's talking about why does this person need a fidget so much? It's not always to be able to move it around. Sometimes it's for that stiffness. So something we need to be really curious about.
Mm-mm. And I think it's, it's like you talked about the difficulty in getting diagnosis or getting people that even know about hypermobility. I mean, I know in my area it's just unheard of. It's not done. It's not a
Right.
done thing. Um, and actually, I think some of the feedback in my area was like, well, you're managing it, so why do you need a diagnosis?
Okay. So that is what is always said to us. I I got pushed out and pushed out and pushed out multiple times for the diagnosis, or it was just not on my chart, despite having had it diagnosed in the States. And I said to him, well, because what if I can't communicate to you a time I come in?
Mm,
And sure enough, a time it happened is I ended up with a bug bite that within a short time after I went, this isn't going to go well. Like, so tissue healing can be a thing. And pretty soon after I realized, ooh, the redness around this is getting pretty big pretty quick, and recognize the signs of cellulitis. And I would, and typically kind of something you think about more in an older population, maybe ones that are in more of a resident setting. But here I am where my blood perfusion isn't quite as good, my healing's not quite as good. And they would not see me. I ended up in the A&E, and at this point it was majority of my thigh, and that was in a very short time period. This was in like minutes. And I was drawing with permanent marker on the different sides, and I was like, this is cellulite, and I'm going to go down quick. And they wouldn't look at me, and they're like, you're too young, you're too young. And then I refused to leave because I could tell I was starting to get a fever, and feeling really unwell. And I thought, if I go septic over a bug bite, I'm going to be so angry. Like if this is how I go, I'm so mad. Um, and then just someone finally kind of listened. One of the docs was like, oh, and I was like, do you want to just look at it? Will someone look at it? And was like, you need antibiotics stat. And I was like, I
you
know.
think?
And that was where I was like, it needs to be written where it's very clear. So that way people aren't like, oh, you're just, hysterics. And you're just like I would love if it was just that. I'm not well. So that I went back through the system again and actually made it through. But then I ended up with the hypermobile, which is interesting. Um, I mean, I have my own thoughts. I don't think it was a very good assessment. Um, you know, but it was something I felt like I really wanted on my chart just in case. And the same for my kids, just in case, like, what if they get hurt and I'm not right there and can't advocate quite as well for them? Or again, like, what if they're not taking this quite as seriously? I really just want, I just feel like that would possibly help protect them in a situation. So hoping to
Mm-mm.
try to get through again. And I also have that feeling at times of, oh man, I can find it so hard to be in healthcare settings myself. I find it very difficult. And at the same time, there's sometimes I get that feeling of, no, we have to, I really want to push through so that way I make it easier for the person behind me. Like, I know my stuff on this, and I can bring in some scripts to help me along the way. And maybe another person with me, a friend with me. We need to make this easier for everybody.
Mm. It's so difficult to access stuff now. I mean, I even dyspraxia or DCD, it's so difficult to just access these kind of things that almost I feel like it's an important part of identity as well.
Very much so.
Just to like know who you are, how you function, how you work and things like that. It's just so difficult at the minute. But I mean, I guess like there's no area, and even when you get older, when for me, having children, for example, like the SPD and like wearing, as like carrying pregnancies and wearing kind of like basically a girdle for most of the
Yep,
pregnancy to keep my
yep,
hips in
did
place.
that too. Yep.
Yeah, like coccyx kicking out in the wrong direction.
So much pain, so much pain.
Yeah, and then it's like children as well with like, I think as well there's that I know for my children it's been really difficult because there's that kind of developed almost like a fear of too much movement
Yeah.
because their legs hurt. And they're like, oh, but all they want to do is sit and play games. Well, that's not the case. But surely if movement was good for them, they'd want to be doing it.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
there's that idea of like the Goldilocks amount of trying to find, which is
Yeah.
so difficult, even as an adult, because then our day to day is also different. So that idea of
Mm,
like, what would be the right amount of movement to feel well, but not too much. Um, and sometimes with young people too, I think when we try not to make it into this like, well, we have to do movement like drills or anything like that, because I think that's overwhelming. But it
you
can be
have to
quite,
play sport, you have to compete, you have
you
to,
know,
yeah.
it can be really nice just to find like where is movement already happening. Like maybe they enjoy fantasy and acting out scenes. That's all movement. Or helping in the kitchen, that's fine motor movement, or maybe, gross motor too with their arm and stirring things. So it's finding it in ways that feel really natural and like, and then it's functional too, right? And I think makes more sense than telling someone we're going to do this 10 times, you know, for
Mhm.
I don't know, whatever the drill is. Um, that sounds so boring as well.
I know, I know. I always find that, when we have like prescriptive sensory circuits as well that we give to children, and they just seem so boring and regimented. And I'm like, why can't we have a bit of autonomy over this? But yeah, I mean, hyper, and there's so many links as well, isn't there, with like, dental hygiene as well, and like taking care of your teeth, especially with connective tissue issues. I mean, I'm trying to think what else there isn't in terms of,
I feel like we could name anything, and you're like, well, because it involves my body. So, of
mm,
course, it's going to be there because I am experiencing my life, all my day-to-day tasks with this body that I need to be mindful that all parts of me might
mm,
might need more rest, might fatigue, might act in ways different than yesterday that I was expecting, where maybe I did something yesterday and it was fine. And I didn't even
mm.
maybe notice as much, but actually today, that seems way too much.
And actually, maybe, I don't know about you, but I know certainly for me that I was never really even, I mean, it's like, I guess it's when you first understand that you have sensory processing differences, isn't it? Everybody sees the color green differently. So how are you even aware that you're in a constant level of discomfort if
No,
that's where you've always been?
right, right. So expecting people to somehow know to advocate out of nowhere,
Hmm.
or to recognize it for themselves, I think is too much. And hence why, again, I think more discussions, more advocacy could be really helpful. And again, I think it really needs to be linked to neurodivergent assessments, and making sure if it's on our list, it should be on the short list. I think for almost anything we do, so far as if we go into schools to be helping kiddos, or um really just any setting like at home, how are we helping this kid? You happen to mention some of the hygiene stuff.
Hmm.
It has to be brought into all those discussions.
Hmm. 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 And just how to kind of figure it out, and maybe it isn't given enough. But there's nothing more complex than a person, is there? We make up. But I think it's, there's so much. I mean, what's the latest research saying in hypermobility? Like, what are we learning about it? Because you were saying about the connective tissue, we used to think it was just the sausage skin, but it feels like to me that with learning connective tissue, it's just coming on so much.
Yes. And we know then we don't know necessarily why, but it's that whole thing. Yeah, it's also really
Mm.
highly connected to POTS, that most people that have the connective tissue difference. So that's the pastoral. I know it's one of those things of like we say it, but then what are all the words again? Pastoral orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Um, so it's under the umbrella of dysautonomia issues.
Dysautonomia, yeah.
Means difficult, auto means by itself. So we're having difficulty with body processes that typically just manage themselves. So like body temperature, we don't have to consciously think like warm yourself up or cool yourself down. It normally would do that a little bit for us. And then bringing up POTS has to do with our blood pressure and heart rate, and also has to do with like pooling of blood. So a lot of people notice if they first go, I didn't know there was a word for it, when I shift my body position from like sitting to standing, or maybe I squatted down to pick something up, and they're like, I'm always fainting. I used to describe, I used to say, I forgot to breathe. Oh gosh, I forgot to breathe again. And that's been something that I remember, like even in my childhood, of thinking, gosh, I keep forgetting to breathe.
Hmm.
And
And
I
the
feel like,
pins and needles. Can we just talk about the
oh,
pins and needles?
it's funny you said that. The reason why I had to change position is because my feet were hurting so bad.
Or random cramp in your foot or something like that
Yeah,
because you've been sat in the same place for too long. That's
yeah,
just happening to me right now. But this is just everyday stuff, isn't it? And I think a lot of the time, things will just get lumped under an umbrella as
okay.
well.
It's just their autism,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
they're now in puberty, so they're being more difficult.
yeah.
Because actually, is the
Growing pains,
yes, I was gonna just say, was it Fiona who
sensory
mentioned that?
processing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It,
and you're like, well, that's when growth hormone comes out. So if there's more growing and bending and stuff, this person's gonna have more pain.
hmm hmm
So I would expect that. And we need to
So
support that.
Annie is asking, who do you get referred to? She said that she's got an 8-year-old autistic child complaining of pain and she's just been to the GP a number of times, but mum does have a diagnosis of Ehlers-Danlos
Oh,
hypermobility. So who would you be referred to? Is it rheumatology?
yeah. So technically, the NHS is wanting more GPs to actually do the assessment because they want them to just do like the Baton scale, I think, as a way of like,
Gatekeeping.
yes. And of course, like my GPs were like, I've never heard of this and I'm not doing it. But you would ask for the rheumatologist. I think they kind of got this hypermobile people because before we really knew as much of what was going on, people complaining of joint pain would go to a rheumatologist like osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis. So it would be asking for the rheumatoid arthritis. So if it's your younger person, it's the GP to pediatrician and then on, or the pediatrician would be able to do the assessment as well, or they're supposedly
Mhm.
like that whole idea of they are supposed to be trained to do that.
Mhm.
And that would all be in house. If there's a suspicion that there might be one of the other types of Ehlers-Danlos that often involves blood work, and some other types of testing, but for the hypermobility, it's more of the family history, looking at you,
Mhm.
and asking more around like skin issues and like bruising, fragile skin type stuff, and looking at the joints.
Yeah, and it is definitely becoming increasingly difficult as well to get past that GP stage at the minute.
Very hard,
Um,
very hard.
yeah,
And it can be helpful to put together just like as much information as you can, and then without like making it too big of a document that they'll just ignore, but like kind of like the big categories. So whether or not like food and eating is an issue, and put down like maybe a couple bullet points with that, and maybe like sleep is, and maybe PE at school, or maybe like changing clothes. Like what are some of those things to bring together to really show proof of like this really is impacting them on the day to day, and they could really use diagnosis, which will also help with being able to create accommodations for the school setting, but also like they deserve physiotherapy and occupational therapy, tend to be your people that come into play here. So they might need that, or even like a podiatrist with when they look at your gait and how you're
with
moving.
flat feet.
Mhm. And proper shoes and boots and stuff like that. So there could be a few options. So sometimes gathering a bit more of that data can be really helpful.
Yeah, and also asking for a second opinion, or I think as well. One of the things that I've learned over the many, many years of being in this space is that sometimes it's really difficult to advocate for yourself. But I think one of the biggest lessons for me is that you don't necessarily need to wind yourself up to be able to advocate for yourself, and just understand that there are processes in place to assist you if you're not happy with the situation, you know. And other like people around, so you can ask for second opinions. You can say to the practice manager, look, this is what the guidance says. I'm just trying to understand, rather than get to a point of so much frustration.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one of the there's a number of UK charities that are amazing. The Ehlers-Danlos UK charity also has like that guidance on their website, so you can bring that list and say, "This is what we deserve."
Mm.
This is the assessment that we should be going through.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, can like menopause cause pain to increase? I mean, I do not know what menopause cannot be.
Wow. Such a great question. I don't know if there's formal research on it because, as you know, it has not been prioritized.
Mhm.
But anecdotally, I think that is what like we all say is because hormones are so powerful, and we know hormones impact how much pain we have, or again, like they also can impact the laxity or the movement of those joints, so we have more pain.
There's a direct link between estrogen
Yeah,
and dopamine as well.
yeah.
So if your estrogen is fluctuating,
Your dopamine is, and that also makes pain feel worse. And we can see that too, even in younger menstruating people, like on a cycle, their pain can be a lot worse. Like it's kind of how I know where I am. I'll go, oh, that's right. Like, because and in a way, it feels, I hate kind of keeping track of things because it feels like pressure that I have to keep track of things.
Mhm.
But sometimes I do loosely for that because it feels a bit, it can help my anxiety of, I'll go, okay, well, I've been through this before. This is about how many days where it feels this much worse. And I kind of know what I should do during that time. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cancel a couple things or move a couple things out of this space.
I think as well with hormonal fluctuations, one of the things to consider as well is the impact on kind of like sleep and overall well-being in other places and how that impacts like pain tolerance levels as well.
Yes. If we're not
Um,
getting that deep sleep for rest and restoration overnight, um, the that's when like tissue healing happens. That's when like your immune system gets to have a reboot, if you will. It's when like some of your chronic illnesses can when like your body's trying to help with that. And if we're not getting that deep rest, it's like it becomes like this cycle. So you do have a bit more pain, you do get more flares, which makes sleep a bit harder to achieve. And I think that's also what I have a lot on my social media accounts because I'm like just starting all that. I'm like, I need more information. I don't know anything about any of this. Someone the other day put up a really good clinic. I haven't looked into it. I could maybe send that. I don't know if you put we could put like a comment underneath, but it's
mhm.
I was gonna look, I'll write a note so I don't forget. But I'll write it in
And
a
also like I do like asking about like how I mean everything is so I guess when you're neurodivergent, hormones play a much larger part in your overall well-being than they would necessarily
mm,
if you weren't. And that's just like a massive generalization, but I think that goes for everything. Um, and yeah, and in terms of menopause, I mean, I know there is like research coming out now that, neurodivergent people can start up to 10 years before in perimenopause.
yes,
Like the increase in ADHD symptoms, like a lot of like people that menstruate, they get and experience menopause, they get diagnosed with ADHD during that process as well. So it impacting the whole of your being is, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, from personal experience, makes everything suck.
It brings back to a comment you made earlier of like how
Yeah.
important it is for like identity
Hmm.
and just the knowing can be so helpful.
Yeah.
Reducing your own self-blame of when you're having like a really hard time.
And we are like hardwired to gaslight ourselves as well. It's just a bit of shoulder pain. Is it that bad? Oh, it's just a bit of an itchy ear, or I'm just not sleeping very well. Am I really stressed? Am I looking after myself enough? Am I doing this enough? Am I doing that enough? And I guess like while, diet, exercise, posture, well-being, all that stuff is so important. I think especially as an autistic person, it can be so easy to look at yourself as always being in the wrong and that being a natural assumption that you're not doing enough or you could do more. When actually, I think removing some of that kind of self-blame element can sometimes make it easier and give you that little bit of space that you need towards coping.
Yeah. I think you have a bit more self-compassion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And you're like, oh, and there is that, there is that masked assumption that it's just me, you know.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I know that's what I carried with me for so many years of going, I don't know other kids that have these complaints. Like, I don't know, or like had these big issues with those giant self-care areas as a teenager. I'm the only one who seems to not be able to do like any basic care of myself. And it reminds me of what you were saying earlier of how you thought or you think now looking back like that hypermobility has played into burnouts and stuff like that. That's very true of me, where again like I think that needs to be on the list of what we're exploring with someone when they're showing signs of or in burnout, and like because it needs to be part of the recovery plan, because we cannot we need to help them recover. And then also for the prevention of this happening again,
Mm.
they need to learn their own pacing. They need to know, like, really tune into understanding, because if we've gone, it's just a little shoulder pain, it's just this, instead of going, actually, this is the level I know actually for me really would debilitate me after this. I need to stop what I'm doing. It's okay to take a break and take care
And
of.
how that feeds into kind of like, the nurture impact on interoception and ability to understand your own body signals as
Yeah.
well. Because there is like that kind of gaslighting and not trusting yourself is
Mhm.
baked into the system everywhere. So it's kind of frustrating how we need that more.
Yes.
We need that self-awareness more. But actually, the whole of existing within the environment, whatever environment that is, convinces us to not trust our body signals. And it's such a difficult thing. And I guess what I'm kind of saying is if you do have that sense of identity, that knowing, um, it's just a little bit of a battle against that, isn't it? Against that self-gaslighting. And it's a
Yeah.
reason to go, ah, I'm not being hysterical. I'm not being over the top. It's not a me problem. This is a thing. And I guess that means you're more inclined to address it and think about it rather than avoid it.
Yeah. I think similar to how so many of us also found the communities, when we realized we were neurodivergent, is
Mm,
there's no magic wand to make everything in your life all of a sudden
perfect.
really easy or whatever.
No.
But there is a great sense of ease when you find like-minded people or people having the same experiences, because you can learn from each other or you can complain to each other. And
Yeah.
like you said, like, it's not just all in your head, which also gets said to people. Like, again, you're making this stuff up. You can just have that validation and know this is a thing. And
Yeah.
I deserve compassion, including for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And also start accessing things that can help. If you know
Yes.
what's going on, you can create mechanisms for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I have been using a lot more like braces. I was like, why wasn't I doing that? I guess I always thought I shouldn't have this pain. So
Mm,
why would I wear an e-brace? Like, why would I do that? But now it's like, oh, actually, I know that's just helping hold me together. So, and I have a lot less pain, which means I can hang out with my kids a bit easier, which is
yeah.
great.
Mm. And just like Michelle was just saying, it's huge validation as well. And I think it's always worth knowing as well, because you think that like getting an autism diagnosis or realizing that you're autistic and having that kind of and then along comes the ADHD and blah 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 and all this, that and the other. I always remember me and Kieran Rose always say we never come in one flavor. So I guess it's just it's leading with curiosity as well about yourself and about your experiences. And again, I just think, we talk about sensory processing differences and ADHD and how difficult it is for a child to sit in a classroom. But actually, how difficult is it for a hypermobile child to sit for an hour in
Yeah,
a hard plastic chair?
very.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's that idea of how we like to make these divisions and not consider like this whole person,
Mm,
the physical body, the mental body, all of them. And again, I think what we do to help neurodivergent people, and if it would be for hypermobile people, it would support everyone. The flexible seating would help your ADHDer and your hypermobile kid and your dyspraxic kid. Like, it would help everybody.
mm. And somebody's just asking if it is hereditary.
Yes.
So yes, yes, basically.
Yes. And that's part of the criteria, is that it's genetic.
Yeah, yeah, there is a genetic element to it. So what in terms of sleep, because I know that you're really interested in kind of like sleep and eating and those kind of like daily functions and stuff. How does hypermobility impact sleep?
Um, the one that's coming to my brain just because of a conversation with someone earlier in this week. So the prior reception of, like, so where am I in space can be impacted.
Yeah, proprioception.
And yeah, sorry, I think I missaid. Now I'm saying everything. I don't know what's happening to me. I'm breaking down. Um, that can be harder for a hypermobile person. So hence why people also like the bear hugs and deep pressure and stuff. but it helps explain why maybe your young person, it's one of the pieces of why maybe they need to co-sleep. Because if we don't quite know where we are in space, we don't feel comfortable, we don't feel safe. And if we don't feel safe, our brain can't go into the, oh, I'm going to go into my non-responsive states of like that deep sleep and stuff like that. So it's in discussions with families of this might be why you're seeing co-sleeping go, continuing on. And of course, discussions with families of what is wanted, what works for them, and how that's totally okay. Um,
And
but
that can be a catch-22 situation as well, because on the one hand, being hypermobile means that you find it more difficult to get that proprioceptive feedback, which makes you feel grounded and relaxed. But on the other hand, you can be quite avoidant of the proprioceptive feedback because it might lead to pain. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation at times.
you're exactly right, because there is that piece of actually having to tune into my body can feel very scary because
It's all there's waiting is pain.
I'm so used to having to pretend that it's not there,
Yeah.
that having to tune in is too difficult. And another way that might be showing itself is just from the cumulative effect throughout the day. That again, like this is someone who is managing a lot more instability, pain, fatigue. So they're in that like overtired, which really adrenalizes you. So like it's the hormones, your stress hormones coming out instead of going more into that rest and digest state. So it can help explain why someone can look so tired and really fatigued, where they're just like, my legs hurt, they feel so heavy, their body feels so heavy. And you think, well, surely they'll fall asleep. But actually, because they're managing so much underneath their nervous system is in more of an alarm state, again, then we can't really biologically access the sleep state. So we need to be looking at the whole day, like what's going on for this person.
Mm.
Where can we lower demands? Where can we lower activities and just help them feel more
Mm.
energetic throughout the day and see if that has an effect on sleep and helping them fall asleep sooner or staying asleep overnight.
And then there's just being comfortable in a sleep position.
Oh my gosh,
I mean, that's the biggest one for me. I gotta say it.
I'm all of, yes, I think a lot of hypermobile people are everywhere, like, and it's like different pillows, and I like will pull
Oh,
pillows on and throw pillows, and
every hypermobile person should have a pregnancy pillow.
yes, like
To
I
the
have the
hips with
I have
the,
the
oh,
U-shaped one.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and I have a very specific way that I want my left arm to be because of the pain I always have. But
Mm.
yet the rest of my body wants to be the other way. So I'm always like, I'm not sure what to prioritize. So I
And
end up
God
looking
forbid
just,
if you, yeah, and if you wriggle in your sleep and you accidentally throw your arm off the edge over the edge of the
oh,
bed, that's it. You're done for about 4 days.
yes, yes. So that's very typical. Yes. And like where the bedding's all rolled up and all of that stuff. So
Yeah, and the fidgeting, and
yes.
the temperature control issue as well.
Yes, because the temperature control is so difficult anyway. So yes, so blankets on, blankets off, fans, not fans, and then throw in menopause or perimenopausal. Oh my gosh. Um, and then snoring,
Sleep
because
apnea.
all the tissues are more lax, and hypermobile, so we get a lot more snoring. And that's one of those things where it can really grind my gears. Is someone's like, oh, if you address snoring, you cure their ADHD, and you're like, no, it's just an ADHD with a hypermobility, like or some sort of
Mhm.
dental issue, So, if they get their dental care or if they get, support with the snoring, then it's still an ADHD or they're just going to be well rested.
I mean,
Oh,
it fits into so much, doesn't it? And food and eating as well. Like I always think that it's such an underlooked at, even intraception is such an
oh.
underlooked at part. I mean, the amount of people, I would just say professionals that I've said interest and they've gone, what?
No. It's still a very behavior-based system for
Approach.
many, and where some of the main programs are still just very behavior-based.
Mm.
So there isn't room to bring in those layers of interoception or other sort of medical needs when you want to be like, again, so it's not personalized care, and then you're putting someone through a program that doesn't fit them, does not work with their body. And so it's more trauma, and maybe we get lots of masking to get through your set of support, just to tick the box. But then we leave people on the other end more unwell. Because it needs to
I always remember there was from back in the academy days, we had Nick Walker, who wrote Neuroqueer Heresies, so about neuroqueer theory. And he always had this saying that you can't unqueer a queer body mind, you can just make it more queer. And I think that is a lot of what the approach does. And what that basically means is when you try and force something into neurotypicality or into a form that it's not supposed to, you essentially just break it more, you know. But ultimately, I think, and Nick King from Pandas talks a lot about her her disgust at the observational model and how much damage that kind of has done.
Mhm.
And where actually that's probably where a lot of like the medical model and social model kind of butt heads a lot. Because everything is based, well, like when we talked about the Beighton scale, everything tends to be based on an observational model
Yeah.
because it's, and also when we look back at systemic kind of gaslighting and stuff, it's because obviously the less qualified person can't be then trusted to report on their own condition, you know?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
especially if you're autistic, because then you have the, what was it? Is it demi-reciprocity, Remiurgo, where you are too autistic to be a reliable source on autism or competent, but not autistic enough at the same time. So there is so much that kind of like goes into it that is basically all layered up to ultimately tell people that they are not qualified to understand their own experience.
Yes. Um, yes. And in the food and eating world, Scott
I
Nielsen.
realized I just went off on a massive kind of
No, I
rant.
love it. So
Sorry.
the food and eating one I'm particularly interested in just because of my
Mhm.
own experience and having gone through a program where I was like so much worse after. And Scott Nielsen and I ran a workshop, gosh, it's like 5 years ago now.
Mm.
It's amazing, called Same Food as Self-Care, because I'm very interested in hearing actually, lived experience of their food. And we ran this interactive workshop, and we now run it a number of times online as well. And the one of the main things to take away from it is there are very clear reasons why, and that were communicated why foods are being chosen,
I
and
don't
like people should be
understand.
trusted. This it's and so many reasons, and like people know, like there's that instinct to be able to take care of yourself. Like, and
Yeah.
if you're able to do that, typically then we can move towards what wellness means for that individual. Um, it was just trying to break down the social barriers of before coming to the workshop of like
Mm.
what would you choose? What is your favorite? Why? And going through it, and it was just there. I love that workshop. It's really beautiful. But one of the
I
main
honestly, I don't understand what is so difficult to grasp about why same foods are a thing. I mean, for like if somebody's already carrying an awful lot of cognitive load, then you need a preset.
Yes, and that is 100%. And I also use the theory from
Mm.
Dr. Luke Bearden, the autistic researcher and educator from Sheffield, around global stability.
Yeah, yeah.
We're needing to look for moments where it's a known experience. Like I know how
It's
every
comforting. It's comforting. I
Yes,
know what the
I know it's going
parameters
to be an
are.
experience with every bit of this food. I know how long it's going to take. I know how to prepare it. I don't have to think
Mm.
about those things. That's all really critically important for people who are going then back maybe into other settings that are very chaotic.
And
Like,
also, like when people eat different things in different settings,
oh yeah. So
people like my son is probably would be offered, but he has different presets for different settings, different things that he'll eat in different places.
yes,
And it's bizarre because he will only eat one specific type of pizza and a ham sandwich and a particular in my house, but at school it's the same lunch every day, but that can never cross.
yeah, agreed, agreed.
And that makes perfect sense to me, but you try and explain that to a
Oh, I
professional.
know. Well, I'm actually giving a talk at a conference just on that. And I'm kind of wondering what the reception's going to be, but I think it's so important because you then support different context eating. Like you create other opportunities to increase
Yeah.
their foods, not take away their accommodation to access that setting. And to
No.
me, that seems common sense. Why would you take something away? You know, you would look for other opportunities for someone to find some joy and comfort in something else. Um, but yes, I think that's a very one of the other very common ways that we interact with food that again just doesn't get brought up. But
Mm.
again, I think it has a lot to do. You could even bring that back to hypermobility a little bit of the idea of that person knows in that setting how much energy they have expended with everything else. So they know exactly how they're going to need to chew this thing, how they're going to need to pick it up,
And
when
it's also like preset masking as well, what's expected of you in each different environment. Um, I mean, we do have different expectations in different environments. Like that's just, and different relationships have different we are different people in every different relationship that we have. Um, and also just the routine of that's what I do in that environment. I always say that we are energy accounting every minute of every day, whether from when we're born, whether we're aware of it or not. And that's why we need to know what's coming next. That's why predictability helps us feel safe, because we are constantly avoiding monotropic split. Whatever we're doing, we just are. And food plays such a key part in that. And also for me as well, you were talking about your problems with eating. I never felt hunger. I never felt hunger. And for me, I think it was because I had quite a lot of other low level pain that hunger was just not
right.
something that registered.
And it's interesting that it's taken so long for that experience for a lot of people to come up to the forefront when we know like there's other theories from healthcare and medicine around like pain
Mm.
gate theories and the idea that everything is limited. So if a lot of signals are coming in of pain, we know we can't get other signals. So
Mm-mm.
it makes sense. And actually our brain also is trying to survive. So it might be putting more energy at figuring out what is this pain and taking care of it. So it makes sense that lots of people would
Yeah.
be so strong.
And I'm just thinking when I think in terms of like, because I like pain stims, that's one of my things. I love a pain stim. Obviously, in very safe ways. Do that. The reason I enjoy comfort most of the time. So things like, hunger, if it's a real big feeling, or pain can be quite centralizing and it actually gives the rest of my body a break.
It's a really good way of describing that to people.
Interoceptive stimming, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's also a lot of misunderstanding around what's conceptualized a lot of self-harm, especially within the neurodivergent community, and how that relates into kind of like centralizing, quieting noise,
Yes.
you know, having some interoceptive feeling. Because I think I wrote about it with David Gray Hammond, like and we were talking about this, like how we really enjoy working. It's such a privilege to work with individuals on a one-to-one basis. And I don't know if you see it, but I definitely see, especially in like cases of extreme demand avoidance or PDA, like that drive for autonomy over one's own interoception in terms of like
Mhm.
interoceptive
Yeah.
stimming. And I
Mhm.
think it's massively misunderstood. And actually, when we bring that back into things like hypermobility and what that looks like on the inside, because I know, for example, that, if you're hypermobile, that also impacts your organs and how they're held inside of your body and your ability to like feel those organs moving on the inside. And emotions, for example, hypermobility would impact emotion because actually when we talk about emotion, we're just talking about, well, effective emotion, the ability to interpret internal body signals as an emotion, as a warning signal. So I'm wondering if there is any research between alexithymia and hypermobility, for example, and whether it would go intensive or the other way. Sorry, I'm
Oh,
just really.
we know it would because how do we know we're feeling angry or joy or anything else is based off of how is my body feeling and different parts of my body feeling. And we
Mhm.
know that already is very
Well,
difficult.
it's nature nurture. So it's how does my body feeling and what kind of examples and co-regulation and modeling have I had
Yes,
to
what in the
recognize this
context
in
going
my,
on around me? So
yeah.
bringing all those pieces together, and if the piece of actually feeling it is really challenging, or if I only can feel it if it gets really high because it has to pass all those other ones, that's very confusing and very difficult.
So when, we get some of our young people that are labeled complex and they go, they only ever feel angry or they only ever feel anxious. I mean, I always say that anxiety for me is a good indicator of the lack of internal feeling, because if there is nothing there, the only thing you can feel is unsafe.
Mhm.
But also, I'm wondering if when we have these young people, sorry, I'm on a little like kind of
Yeah.
thing now, but when we have these young people that go, oh, we only ever feel anxious, or we only ever feel angry, or we only ever feel hungry, what is linked to that ability to sense our internal sensations, and how much of that is nature, how much of that is nurture? And if we look at that through a hypermobile lens rather than just purely a sensory lens, that might actually change the way that we look at things.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I think it's that idea of not reducing the layers, like that idea of making sure we're not being reductive of why the person's experience what they're experiencing. Because that's often something I say to other providers of the care of your neurodivergent people, particularly the kids that you're mentioning.
Mhm.
It's very reductive. It's the same. It's like what you're saying. It's the same list. You're giving me the exact same thing.
It's
It's
always,
always the
I
exact same
think,
thing.
it's the human condition, isn't it? It's wanting to find a yes or a reason and to box it off and to move on. And I always think, well, no, that's part of the story. So yes, it's part of them being autistic. And
Yes.
what else? We
Right.
don't come
What
in
else?
one flavor. We are a spectrum within ourselves. So I always think that, and it's so tempting, especially in the way that systems work and medical models work and social care systems and EHCPs. Everybody wants to do a need provision outcome, but it's all so intertwined and differently impacting. And I think that's why I really enjoy the complexity of people as a
Yeah.
problem solver, I think. But yeah,
Well,
somebody was saying here as well, it really impacts continence. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And hence why I do not care at all that Bridget Phillipson was talking on social media about toileting as a behavior issue, toileting at school. So she's at the Department of Education. And you just go, no, not at all. Like not at all. Hypermobility greatly impacts the pelvic floor and the whole digestive system. So
The ability to
everything going in,
feel
coming
that
out,
you need to pee.
bladder, all
Yeah.
of it. And actually, I would say that area is probably one of the biggest ones for people that I see of where they're first starting to understand that maybe hypermobility might be in there, because it's especially because the accidents they're seeing aren't consistent. You
Think
know, the
bladder emptying as well. That's something like when the
complete
bladder's
bladder
not fully
emptying,
emptying.
ongoing or recurrent infections, constipation is
Yeah,
really
low gut motility. That's the one.
motility. So,
Yeah.
so that means like the whole digestive system moves a bit slower. So the peristalsis or the muscle contractions are a bit slower. So from the top side, we see people who have like quick satiety. So that might be someone who goes, I'm so hungry, I need to eat. Like I'm so hungry. And they have a couple bites of something, they're like, okay, bye. And you're like, oh no, I thought you weren't. We're so hungry. It's just because those things are going to go kind of slower in them. And that also is highly linked to constipation.
Which
Uh,
can then cause food issues because
it
obviously it's all
will pull up.
connected. And yeah,
You don't feel like quite as hungry, or you feel like nauseous. So you want to reach for like really easy digestible foods, like your like the beige foods, and maybe some sort of fruit juices, stuff like that. So it's heavily, heavily intertwined. And I feel really quite strongly around kids getting support in school settings around toileting, and particularly like one of the reasons why I bring it up with like educators so much is these rules around the bathrooms are doing such a disservice to really what is quite a large all the people on campus, and then if you think of just who's like, even just we're talking about hypermobility, it's going to be a large proportion of who's on your campus, and they need access to the bathroom sometimes very quickly, because if it's very difficult to feel that
Yeah,
you
the sense of
might not
urgency,
get it,
if you don't have that body signal until your bladder is stretched to
like
a certain
stretched to the
degree.
absolute limit. And it's not because they were, and because I don't like the word, but like the too lazy is what's often said, to go at break time or this or that. Well, also this kid deserves a break, and then also the kids that maybe they need a lot longer in the bathroom, you
But
know?
also, I mean, just outside of that, right? Again, that's trying, like you said about the eating, it's trying to solve a non-behavioral problem with a behavioral solution. Actually, I don't believe there are behavioral problems as such. There's just what's that telling us? And if that child is wanting to spend time in a smelly bathroom rather than your classroom,
I also think, yes, exactly. That more telling us about the space they left. Um,
Mm.
yes. Um, yeah, that's kind of close
It
to
can
home.
also create a lot of fear as well. And also, just from like a purely logical perspective, I mean, we know that every brain, regardless of whether it be autistic, ADHD, neurotypical, whatever, like it's a finite amount of attentional resources.
Yes.
And as we move through society, we are just asked to pay more attention, more and more and more and more, we are more plugged in, we're more, and this is not to demonize screen time or anything, but actually, is it any wonder that as a society we have less attention to pay to our interoception?
Well, there's just too much going on all
There's
the
too
time.
much going, and that increases. It increases because, I mean, at school, the demands are increasing there. The benchmarks, like something's got to give somewhere. And I always say that, you have to be able to develop that interoceptive insight is massive privilege because you have to have the space and the safety in which to do so, to know that it's important. Like in the same way that you would say having access to music lessons and culture would be when you were growing up, if you didn't grow up in poverty, or having access to running water, or, having access to be able to actually spend that time on your own mental well-being and physical well-being and exercise and sport and education is all privilege. And it's not necessarily something that all of us have. And I don't think that when you talk about like assessing, that's not often looked at holistically because of the baked in kind of power imbalances that exist.
Mm,
So yeah, anyway, that's my rant.
no, it's totally true. It's totally true.
Yeah.
That
And I find it ironic, right, that the Department of Education is shoving more and more pressure on our children, and now it's illegal to not be at school. We have no EHCPs, the schools are no longer fit for purpose, yet we're going to blame parents when children are experiencing mental health challenges and aren't at a stage where they can actively focus on their interoception enough to grasp toileting an acceptable age for the person that's put more demands on very young minds.
yes, it's a very hypocritical setting, because then another layer too is the behavior programs they put in place, like you have to eat, the clearing your plate before you could go out, or you're only allowed to be on the carpet time in this position and not move around and listen to your body signals telling you to move around. And yet somehow the same kids know you need to be able to tune into your bladder and bowel only at this time, like these breaks. That's when you need to do it. You're like, you
Mm.
put so many rules around being able to feel anything that actually, like,
Or
it's
you're not feeling it in the right way, or that's not what.
unrealistic expectation. I and have said to a number of educators, like, we really can't improve this area of care. Even sometimes when if there's someone's annoyed with like accidents, and you're like, I really can't help here unless you remove some of the other barriers to them tuning it into their body. Like even for their thirst, like why aren't there fluids with them? Like they have to be able to tune in regularly in order to tune in. Like it's kind of like you know,
I relate hard because I think most of my job on the day in and day out, and I honestly like, we talked about this earlier, like how do you maintain your own kind of well-being? And I do like supervisional therapy like frequently. And honestly, I sit there most of the time and like I feel like I'm just sometimes paid to point out the obvious because I'm sat there and I'm like, am I the only person that's seeing this? If this child is escaping to the toilet, what is so intolerable about a
I
classroom?
know, right?
You know, if this child is refusing to take their medication, clearly the medication is not working for them to a point where it's intrinsically motivating to take.
Yes.
If so, but yeah, and a lot of it, I guess, for me, and maybe, and I need to remind myself of this, it feels easy and instinctive, but it's not for everybody else.
Not, especially when they've never heard these words or the language.
Mm.
So it is always that like sometimes the first thought in my head, I'll think, well, I can't say that. So, okay, I'll process that I'm surprised that they're surprised by this. And then gently be like, oh, have you ever heard of? Like, let me show you a great website to learn more. Oh, that's a great discussion. Let's talk
And
about.
then you have to balance professional ego as well, which as a neurodivergent person who can only ever do one form of bluntness, I've developed a lot of scripts for that. I was just wondering, I'm just curious, can you explain your rationale? I don't know if that's something you have problems with because you just generally cheery by disposition, but yeah, it's very exhausting. And actually, at the center of it is all these structures that are apparently supposed to want the best outcomes for children.
Yes. So many times where I go, I can't believe we're having a meeting about this. Like including for my kids. We're like, I can't believe all of these adults, all of these busy adults, we have so much going on and we have to meet about this, which is like a very basic human need. So
Or or you'll literally like start the meeting with like when everybody's out and you're just like, can I just reminder what are we trying to achieve here? What do we want the outcome to be?
yes.
You know? But yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I always I'm not gonna swear, but I always say that I'm a professional strawberry weir honor. Because I will pee on everybody's strawberries. And I'll do it completely innocuously and I'll be like, well, hang on a minute. So you're telling me this and you're telling me this, but then that, I feel like that is my job. And it is, I do wonder why we haven't look we're gonna have to start looking more at this as like a health service, surely. Because I mean, it doesn't matter how many times Nigel Farage or whoever says that ADHD is overdiagnosed, it's not going away. Denying it is not going to make neurodivergence disappear. Like we said, you can't unqueer a queer body mind, just make it more queer. What you're going to do is create more mental health
Yeah.
problems. So and we know that like our political system and health is political, you
Very.
know, we can't not be political, but we know that our political systems are like short term, 6 years, right? But actually, we're at the point now where there are so many people unable to work because of basic accommodations or not having their needs met or not having the right provision in terms of access to work is becoming harder. You
Yeah.
know, this let's not even get started on what the proposed changes are to send support. If you can support, I'll use the word support very loosely.
Yes.
Um, and I'm not saying the system is perfect where it is, but we're going to have to start taking these things more seriously as a health service. I don't see a solution or any kind of future where we don't, because, I think, is it neurodivergent people make up 15% of the population? Surely it must be more than that now.
It's got to be more than that. I
And
just
we're here at the coalface of knowledge production for ourselves. And one would assume if we're into kind of like neoliberalism and capitalism, would it not make sense to it just doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, it feels like we're in a really hard time, and I just have kind of hold on to hope of like there's got to be a big wave, a big switch, the
Mhm.
other way, or just like enough people will have heard some of the stories and experiences
Mm,
to where they can start to outnumber the more behaviorist traditional ways, um,
mm.
to start realizing this is actually how we can
I
support
just wonder,
children.
like, what volume of broken people do we need before we start going, oh, that's not working?
I don't know. Um, I
That's a
really
scary thought.
well at times when I get that's what I had last week was in the middle didn't sleep one of the nights. That was literally the thought in my head of like, it just feels like, to me, the one is too much.
Mm,
Like I don't know how the other person, the other side, these people could just leave work at the end of the day, and like it not seem like this massive alarm that something like this needs support immediately, but also this really represents yet another family, yet another person, and it's just enough.
yeah. So Rebecca's just commented that she's an autistic health professional supporting autistic children and their families within the NHS, and her accommodations are forever being moved. And she's consistently fighting to get them reinstated. Yeah,
And that
yeah.
alone has got to be traumatizing,
Well, I think it's
exhausting,
because we
frustrating.
place so much value on the idea of the perfect man. It was Piaget, I think it was like, and that was misinterpreted. But the idea of the ideal person, the ideal man, that is pace, and it was a man. Sorry, non-binary, trans, and other people. But this idea that that's there is baked into our culture, and that kind of like capitalist. And I'll go on a Robert Chapman rant because he was one of my mentors at uni, and I love him, love them. But yeah, it's just baked. That idea of normal is baked into how we do everything. And it doesn't work. And I think for me, the difficult thing to grasp is surely it must be costing us more to stay stuck to this view that you can pressure people into normality or perceived normality and the outcome of that than it would be to just go, well, this system's not working. Maybe we should change it.
Jay. I think it comes down to that idea of going back to the politics really is someone's in an office for a little bit and whatever makes them look like they saved money
Mm,
um, is good for them. And then they usually get a bonus. And
mm,
changing systems is expensive.
mm,
Um, I honestly think it's sometimes as reductive as that sounds, but I've been in public health for a long time and seen so many people come and go. And that's just like the common pattern of if it makes them look good in the short term, like I saved money this year, and you save money by not doing things, by not changing things. So with the projection, because I often say that I'm like, it is more expensive for this kid to have not been physically assessed for why they're so anxious to eat food. Like we know there's got to be something else here,
mm.
but it's much more expensive,
And also, we have to like have the as practitioners, I know we do, we have to look at the least restrictive options, but that doesn't necessarily mean now. That also means in the future. And actually, you're creating more restrictions by not addressing things now. Somebody's just asked here before we finish up, where would be the best place to find possible school accommodations for hypermobility? So the first place would always be your in your Senko. Ultimately, if this is a problem, like SEND support is needs led, not diagnosis led. Um, so you'd be looking, if your child's on the SEND register or receiving SEND support, you'd be looking for their IEP individual education plan if they've not got like an EHCP or something. Unfortunately, there's no accounting for people and attitudes though.
Mhm.
Like that should be how it works. So that's the first place to go. And ultimately, if they're struggling with something and it puts them at significant disadvantage, think about what you want the result to be. I always think when dealing with professionals, um, always go with what outcome you want in mind. It's like when you do a complaint. Like a lot of people write complaints and don't say what they want to resolve it.
Yeah,
So if you can do most of the thinking for them, I tend to find that that's a really good kind of starting point.
that's a good one. And then there's some really awesome toolkits,
Hmm.
school toolkits on SEDS Connect,
Mm,
so SEDS Connect. and
Mm.
also the Ehlers-Danlos UK webpage that you can find, and they're free to access. So you can just click on those and download them, or copy paste kind of stuff. But there's lots of ideas on there that you can access, because that is definitely something that
Mm.
your little person would benefit from.
Yeah, and in terms of like more specific accommodations and equipment and so on, you would need like a physio, OT, that sort of thing, to recommend those things. Because every single person is unique, really, especially as we've said, like with hypermobility, it can affect any area of connectivity and have any kind of number of like co-occurring knock-on effect kind of things. So it has to be highly individualized. So, if you need equipment or aids, you'd be looking at occupational therapy or physio for that and getting a referral there. But I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing to refer back into kind of like,
Mhm.
so the lady was just saying they've had OT, but that OT might have been looking at sensory integration, for example. It's not necessarily looking specifically at hypermobility, and different OTs look at different things, you know. Same as physios as well.
Totally
Um,
agree. And they also might be thinking of a different setting, because they might have been more addressing for one. Like sometimes you might be have gotten more of an assessment for in a home setting versus school setting. So
yeah.
definitely
And
go.
actually, I think as somebody who assesses quite frequently, like it's entirely different assessing somebody for a SENDIS tribunal than it is for, I don't know, supported living accommodation. So what you're looking at in those different
Yeah.
assessments as a professional is very different depending on what's presented. So definitely go back through physio if it's causing a lot of issues, or OT. But yeah, first place, definitely speak to your Senko and just think about like what is, it's about picking your battles as well. Like what is the most pressing issue here? Because I think sometimes if you ask for too much at once, they can get a bit overwhelmed, can't they? Even though it shouldn't be that way. But yeah, pick your battles, see what you need first, prioritize. But yeah, that would be it. But yeah, thank you for joining us, Laura.
Well, thank you for having me. I love this topic. So, and you also asked some really great questions, like, oh, I need to look into that. So thank you.
Oh, that's just my brain. I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is connected to.
Trying to make patterns.
Yeah, but thank you so much for joining us. It's been a really interesting conversation. We'd love to have you back at some point later in the year or maybe next year,
I would
and
love.
we'll muse on different different topics. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. And I think we are back next month with I'm not sure of the date, so watch out on the Facebook page with Bobby Elman talking about hyperempathy. And Bobby's also a big advocate for Ehlers-Danlos as well, because they have Ehlers-Danlos. And I think we've also got a bonus one coming from David Gray Hammond on psychosis and voice hearing in autism.
Oh,
So that'll be really interesting as well. So yeah, watch out on the page for all the details. And thank you for joining us, Laura. It's been great. And where can we find you on socials? Shall we pop it in the comments?
I think if you just type in my name places, I guess.
Just Google me. I'm a
Oh
big
my
deal.
God. I'm not the best at like, um,
I'm either a big deal or I'm not very good at self-promotion.
oh no, no, but I find it just kind of tricky. I would say I'm just because I've had Facebook longer, I tend to kind of think of that. But also, I've been finding that I like Substack, so I can make resources, or if I've been asked to make resources for a group, a lot of those let me post those for free where everyone can grab
Mm.
them. So mine's, I don't know. Um,
Substack. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and
tend
then
I tend to hide, so you won't find me generally. If people hunt me down, it's usually through AP UK or David.
yeah, I would say that's true for you for sure. Yeah. But
Oh.
I only point to people to Substack is because most of the work I do, because it's a
Mhm.
lot of it's with charities and other groups like that, where the events tend to be free or low cost. So you'd be always very welcome to come. And those go out through my newsletter on Substack. Or I also put them on my website, if I remember. Like I
Mhm.
try to remember.
So I think we should definitely get you back, and while I'm thinking about it, and we should definitely have a talk on sleep at some point,
That sounds good.
maybe later in the year.
That sounds good.
Great stuff. Right, so I'm going to end the live stream, but thanks everybody for joining. If you just bear with me a second. This is where we do the really awkward thing where we have to say goodbye and end it. There we go. Right. So thanks for joining us. See you next month, everyone.